This month, we have a lot of planets moving into new signs of the zodiac. Venus, ruler of personal resources, moving into Taurus. Mercury, the messenger, and Jupiter, ruler of belief systems, moving into sensitive Cancer. We have Mars, the warrior planet, planet of energy and action, moving into detailed Virgo. And of course, the sun, ruler of how we shine our light, is moving into Cancer as well. All of this, an empowered moment and more in my new intuitive energy forecast for June 2025. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, starseed astrologer and spiritual messenger, here with your monthly intuitive energy forecast. For this month, we're going to be using the Syrian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha. That's going to be the main message for everyone. Your special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, is going to be coming from the Earth Magic Oracle cards by Stephen Farmer. So before we get into looking at those stones of choice or talking about the astrology of the month of June, let's go ahead, close our eyes, and do an empowered moment. So as you close your eyes, take a deep breath, and as you exhale, relax your body and clear your mind of all thoughts. Make sure your feet are flat on the floor or the ground if possible, and make sure that your arms and legs are uncrossed so the energy can flow freely. Start by visualizing golden white light all around you, and this golden white light is God's source energy, universe, spirit, unconditional love, peace, guidance. And as you see or sense, feel, or just know that you're surrounded in that golden white light, I want you to take a deep breath and imagine that you're breathing it into every cell of your body. As you exhale, imagine it going down through all of your chakras, down through the soles of your feet and into the earth. It's going down deep through the layers of Earth Mother Gaia. And those cords from your feet, that light that went down through your chakras and into the earth, is going all the way down and connecting with Earth Mother Gaia's heart chakra in the center of the earth. And on your next inhale, imagine that you're breathing up and in through those light cords, those roots, breathing up and in Earth Mother Gaia's nurturing, loving, healing light. It's being breathed up and in through those roots all the way up through the soles of your feet. And as you exhale into your body through all of your chakras. And this month of June, we're shifting the energies a bit as we've been in fire and air. Fire, passionate, creative, spiritual energy, and air, intellectual, objective, mental energy. But now we're shifting. A lot of the planets are shifting into earth and or water. And earth is grounding and protecting. Water is emotional and fluid. And it slows us down a little bit. Brings a little bit more calm to our nervous system. So as you breathe in and exhale out, imagine you're breathing in this calm and peaceful earth and water elemental energy. Breathing in the earth, breathing in the water. Exhaling, letting your body relax even more. And even though these elements of earth and water might feel more calm and relaxed, slow things down a little bit, it does not mean that growth won't happen. And in fact, water and earth together produces growth. Like a seed that you plant in the earth, when you water it, it sprouts and grows. So imagine planting a seed into the rich soil of the earth. And imagine that you're watering that seed so that it will grow. It will grow into and manifest into something that you desire. This is part of the manifestation process, but we have to be patient and enduring and persistent with continuing to care for that seed so that it grows healthy and strong with strong roots, deep roots. So what is that seed that you've planted? What does it represent in your life? What new thing do you want to grow? What do you want to manifest? Are you willing to nurture it? Will you be patient as it germinates and sprouts? So take a deep breath, breathing in the light of Source God's Spirit that's still shining all around you. And this time as you exhale, blow it to that seed that you've planted in your mind. Blow that energy from Source God into that intention, giving it life and vitality to grow and sprout. And with your attention and your care and watering and nurturing it, it will become something manifest in divine timing. So let's take one last deep, healing, cleansing, balancing breath. As you exhale, when you feel ready and in your own time, you can open your eyes and return to this time and place and space. And let's get ready to look at our stones of choice for this month. Okay, the first stone of choice, this is, look at how beautiful and shiny it is. This is called Cherry Tansberry Quartz. So a couple of these stones today are something that I dug out of my collection. They've been kind of packed away, if you will. But the Cherry Tansberry Quartz, this helps to promote confidence, positive thinking, and manifestation, which is something we were just talking about in the meditation. It also enhances creativity and vitality. Okay, our second stone of choice is one that we all know and perhaps love or not love, but it's black tourmaline. Black tourmaline, I think there is a reason to love black tourmaline because it is a powerful stone of protection. Powerful protection and grounding energy with this black tourmaline. It shields against stress, anxiety, and lower vibrational negative energies. So that's the black tourmaline. And then our last stone of choice, I thought this one was really cool, and I had to remind myself what it was called. This is called Picasso Jasper. Some people call it the Picasso stone, but it's Picasso Jasper. And this is a stone of transformation. This helps to release self-limiting beliefs and balances our emotions. It also helps with manifestation. So which one are you drawn to today? This is, again, the Cherry Tansberry Quartz. Cherry Tansberry Quartz. And then we've got the black tourmaline. That's a pretty big piece of black tourmaline. And the last stone of choice is the Picasso Jasper. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the energy of the month of June. We're going to start with the numerology. So the month of June vibrates to the number 15. We take the universal year for 2025, which is a 9. We add it to the month of June, which is the 6th month of the year. 9 plus 6 is 15. Now, in numerology, we reduce things down to a single digit unless it's a master number or a karmic number. And the number 15 is not a karmic number. It's not a master number either. So we want to add the 1 plus the 5, and that's going to give us a 6. So the number 6, the number 6 has a couple of meanings. One is that there's a focus on home and family and emotions, emotional healing or emotional dynamics. It's also about caretaking. It's also about nurturing. It's also about our emotional or even intuitive sensitivities. And the number 6 also, in another way, is about balance, because if you think about a 6-pointed star, right, the number 6, so 6 points in a star, it is an upward pointing triangle intersected with a downward pointing triangle to give it that 6 points. That's, you could call it the Star of David or the hexagram or the Merkaba. And this is a balance of as above, so below. It's balancing the internal emotional nature of the being or of us as human beings and balancing that with the outer realm of career, life purpose, who we are out in the world. So we're balancing who we are on a deep inner soul level and who we are out in the world with the number 6. To me, it oftentimes means a successful balancing. You know, the number 6 is a nice, flowing, emotional, intuitive, balanced sort of energy. But if we look at the double digit that it comes from, the number 15, because we take into consideration with a single digit number, what actually is making up that single digit number as far as the double digit, or sometimes there's a triple digit involved. So the number 1 is about initiation, new starts, new beginnings. The number 5, though, is about change, redirection. Sometimes it can be about chaos and confusion. So with that in mind, there could be a little bit of chaotic, confusing, changing, redirecting, ungrounded sort of energies that are going on within this month of June that maybe focuses on the idea of home, family, our emotions, and our emotional bodies. Now, if we look at the 15th major arcana of the tarot, the 15th major arcana from the Syrian Starseed Tarot is called the Shadow. I know there's a little bit of a glare there. Sorry about that. But the Shadow, the 15th major arcana in the traditional deck, is called the Devil. So the Devil card, the Shadow card here, talks about our fears, our anxieties, illusions that we tell ourselves, stories that we tell ourselves. Feeling like we're, again, in the shadows, or we're dealing with our shadow nature. And the shadow nature is our fears and anxieties and doubts, right? It's where we kind of, again, make up this narrative that isn't necessarily based in reality. So we've got 2 shadowed figures here surrounded by like a spider web, but it's all shaded and dark. They can't see what's in front of them. They see or feel that spider web is kind of blocking them. But again, a spider web can easily be gone through. And so I think that's the point here, is that with our fears, our anxieties, the illusions, the doubts, we can walk through those. This is just part of our ego mind that is bringing up these energies that sometimes aren't based in reality. Now, sometimes fears are real and whatnot, but it's just an energy. We can easily move through and push through that energy. We can easily, well, I shouldn't say easily, we can shift our perspective. Sometimes it's not that easy, but we can shift our perspective from glass half empty, doubtful, fearful, to glass half full, joyful, anticipating, enthusiastic. Sometimes it is difficult, but oftentimes this shadow energy, again, is just an illusion. If we turned on the light and we shone the light on this, energy, we'd see we'd probably see through the spider web, or we'd see that we can go around the spider web, right? We don't have to get stuck in the spider web. We don't have to get stuck in that illusion and doubt and confusion of the spider web. Again, this can bring up some chaos and confusion. Uncertainty is probably a big keyword for the devil card or the shadow card. But this is something, again, that with these changing energies, whatever's going on in the collective, whatever's going on in your personal life, we can move through that. And when we move through that, we become empowered. So that might be the other side of looking at this energy. Let's move into empowerment. Let's empower ourselves. Maybe that first starts with empowering our mind, empowering our thoughts, empowering or having empowered belief systems about our life forward or the next step on our path or what we can do, rather than focusing on limitations or restrictions or what we feel we can't do or what we feel it's too late to do. That's all just part of that illusion that the devil or the shadow energy wants you to pay attention to, which is not reality. So let's move through that this month. Let's move through that. All right, so let's go ahead and I guess we've done the numerology. Let's talk about the astrology of significance for the month. Now, I don't go through every single thing because that would take too long, but we're going to hit some highlights. And there's a lot of planets changing signs this month. We start out on June 8th with Venus moving into Taurus. Now, Venus rules love and relationships, but she also rules personal resources and values. Some of those personal resources can be like money, finances, gifts, talents, our time. And Taurus, the sign that she's moving into, is a materialistic sign. In other words, it deals with the material aspects of life. Not materialistic in the negative connotation of that, but materialistic in the sense that it's the tangible job, it's the tangible finances, it's the tangible home that you live in, it's the things that are tangible. So there's going to be a focus on more of the money and finances and our personal resources with Venus moving into Taurus. And she's going to be in Taurus until July 4th. So, again, in relationships, I think that it might be more about how we value ourselves or how worthy and deserving we feel in relationships, because Taurus does deal with self-value and self-worth. On the 8th of June, we've got Mercury, the messenger, the ruler of the mental realm, moving out of curious Gemini and into intuitive Cancer. So Mercury in Gemini, that was its home placement. It zipped right through Gemini. It was like within 3 weeks or less, it had gone through Gemini. It was very much at home there, thinking, teaching, writing, ideas, networking, all of this communication and information of Mercury, the messenger in Gemini. But now it's going to move into Cancer, a place that it's not as comfortable in, because Cancer rules emotions and feelings, intuition, empathy. And Mercury wants to just be logical. So with Mercury, what's the best access of this, right? The best way to look at how to bring the most positive and beneficial energies with Mercury and Cancer is merging your logic with your intuition. How can we merge our logic with our intuition? There might be more communications with home and family, because Cancer does rule home and family. So we might find that there's communications and phone calls and text messages with either people that are our biological family members or those that we consider family, really good friends, for instance. There could be some emotional conversations that are happening, something that we have to work through emotionally with those people in our lives that we care about. Now, Mercury is going to be in Cancer until June 26th, right? It's only not even till the end of this month. And it's going to move into the next sign of the zodiac. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes here. On the 9th of June, we've got Jupiter moving into Cancer. Now, Jupiter is known as the great benefic or planet of blessings. It's also the ruler of our belief systems. It's about expansion. So Jupiter has been in Gemini for the last year, because Jupiter spends 1 year in each sign of the zodiac. So it's now completed its year in Gemini, which I have to say for myself was a little tough because Jupiter wants to expand into the big picture, but Gemini wants to look at all the little and various details. And Jupiter's expansive energy or exaggeration energy was looking at all these possibilities and all these potentials, and it was really hard to zone in on making a decision or making a choice or knowing what the right path was. That's what I found anyway. So maybe you've had a similar experience. If you have, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. But now Jupiter is going to move into Cancer for the next year. So now Jupiter's expansive energy is around the energy again of home, family, living situation, property even, emotions, empathy, caring and caretaking energies, nurturing energies, counseling energies, healing energies, the emotional body, right? So when it comes to spiritual upgrades, right, and us evolving as human beings, there may be an expansion of our emotional bodies, which is going to heighten our intuitive and clairsentient abilities, probably specifically, but it can also heighten and magnify our emotions and emotional sensitivity. So that can be sometimes a little challenging. It's like we all want expanded intuitive abilities, but we don't think about the idea that that's linked to the emotional realm and our emotions. So both of those might be expanded. And Jupiter is going to be in Cancer until June of 2026, right? So that's exactly a year, June 2025 to June 2026. On the 11th of June, we have a full moon, and this full moon is going to be in Sagittarius. That means that the sun is still in Gemini at this point, and the moon is in the opposite sign of Sagittarius. The full moon is at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. If you know your charts, you'll want to look where 20 degrees of Sagittarius falls in your chart. And this is really, highlighting, again, our belief systems, because Sagittarius rules our belief systems, our expanded vision, our higher mental body. So more of those expanded kind of concepts rather than all the little small details. It wants to look again at the big picture. With the belief systems and the full moon being in Cancer here, we can most likely be focusing on healing some outdated belief systems, healing some things that are not necessarily something we want to hang on to as we move forward. Old stories, right? Sagittarians are often the storytellers of the zodiac, but sometimes those stories are old and they're no longer valid. So we want to heal and release maybe some old stories that we have regarding our life and our movement forward. All right, and then I added, what date is this? It looks like it's the 15th maybe. Oh my gosh, I can't read my own writing. Somewhere between the 15th and 16th of June, we've got a couple of aspects I decided to throw into the mix. Now, normally I would just leave this for the weekly reading, but it seemed like it was important because they both happen on the same day and they're both challenging aspects. And the first one is Mars, the planet of energy, action. He's the warrior planet. And he's challenging Uranus, the great awakener. So Mars is the fuel, Uranus is the awakener, and it just felt like there could be something maybe shocking or sudden or out of the blue or unexpected that occurs around that time. The other aspect that happens that day is Jupiter, which just went into Cancer, remember, and it's challenging Saturn in Aries. Now, these two planets have very differing energies, whereas Jupiter is about expansion, Saturn is about contraction or limitations. Jupiter wants to see the big picture, the big spiritual picture. Saturn wants you to look at reality and gives you reality checks and wants you to pay attention to third dimensional reality. So these two planets are in a challenging aspect as well, on the same day that Mars is challenging Uranus. So it just felt like it was important to mention that. There's definitely something happening here. We might have a push-pull energy with the Jupiter-Saturn where we might be filled in one moment with a feeling of I can expand, I can do this, feeling really good and feeling like you're blessed and feeling like you can expand into something bigger, brighter, and better. And then Saturn comes along and says, no, you can't, and brings in this insecurity and brings in this fear and brings in the doubt. And so it might be this push-pull energy that's kind of happening. That, and also again on a collective level with Mars and Uranus bringing maybe a sudden unexpected something, circumstance or situation, that might be part of this push-pull of belief and fear as well. All right, then on the 17th of June, we've got Mars, planet of energy, action, forward movement, moving out of Leo, which is more of a confident, leadership-oriented, courageous kind of sign, and it's moving into detail-oriented Virgo, where it will stay until August 6th. So Mars is now funneling its energy through Virgo. Let's take things step by step. Let's pay attention to the details. Maybe being a little overly perfectionistic, feeling like something's got to be better, something's got to be perfect. And that might be too geared towards yourself. Like, I could have done that better. I should have done that different. So we have to be careful because Mars can be about frustration. So here the frustration might lie in thinking that we didn't do a good enough job, or that we're not good enough, or that we don't know enough, or whatever it might be. And again, this does, it lasts a few weeks. Now, the good thing about Mars in Virgo is that if you're working on a project or something like that, we're paying attention to details, we're fine-tuning it, we're moving step by step, and we're able to accomplish quite a bit. In fact, it would be really great to make a to-do list with Mars in Virgo. Make a to-do list of what you want to do over the next couple of months, and one at a time, focus on each task and then check it off when it's done. So that's going to be something that's going to be very beneficial as far as moving towards goals. On the 18th of June, Jupiter is now in a challenging aspect to Saturn. So I mentioned Jupiter in that challenging aspect to Saturn. So I figured I'd go ahead and mention Jupiter again, just a few days after, is going to be in a challenging aspect to Neptune. Now, Neptune rules the spiritual realm. It does rule miracles and magic, but it also rules illusion, delusion, and confusion. This is a challenging aspect. So Jupiter might expand this confusion. Jupiter might expand our disbelief about something. So there's definitely something going on, mid-month-ish. That's bringing in a I can't believe this is happening sort of feeling. On the 20th, the sun moves into Cancer. This is the same time of the year every year that the sun makes its transition from Gemini to Cancer. So now again, the focus is really on home and family, right? We have Mercury that went into Cancer. We had Jupiter that went into Cancer. Now the sun has moved into Cancer until July 22nd. So there is a big focus on emotions, emotional connections, healing old emotional wounds, again, connecting with home and family matters and taking care of some home and family situations and that sort of thing. And then we're going to go down to the last thing we're going to talk about is on the 26th of June. And this is Mercury the messenger again, moving out of Cancer and now moving into Leo until September 2nd or 3rd, or maybe it's the 1st. Can't read my writing. But it's the first couple of days of September. And it's in Leo an extra long time, as you can tell. I mean, it's zipped right through the sign of Cancer all within this month. Mercury is going to be in Leo a little longer because it's going to go into a retrograde motion in the sign of Leo. So it takes an extra long time when it goes retrograde and then turns direct again to finish out its travels through that sign. So again, Mercury rules thoughts, ideas, perceptions, perspectives, communications. Leo is this confident, courageous, it's the lion, right? Confident, courageous, leadership-oriented, take charge, passionate, creative, but yet fun-loving. It rules the inner child too. Fun-loving, playful, kind of energy, colorful. It has some interesting sides to it. If you think about a cat, which the lion is a cat, it can roll over and play and have fun, right? It's curious, but it also has that ferocity, when it needs to stave off, whatever person or other animal or whatever is coming into its domain. So it does have a little bit of a dominating kind of energy, which is, in a sense, it's good for being able to be a leader, speak out. This is really good because Mercury rules communication. So if we need to, teach or speak or do a presentation or take charge of a group or a situation, it's really good with that. But it also knows how to play and have fun. All right, so that's a little bit about the astrology. Let's go ahead and move into the messages from our angels and guides. Whoops, sorry about that. So the first card is Major Arcana 5. In this deck, it's called Guidance. Now, in the traditional tarot, this is the Hierophant. So I like that this is called Guidance here, because with the Hierophant, it's usually about a spiritual figure of authority or represents some sort of authority figure that you're looking for counsel from, or that you're looking for information or guidance from, right? If you went to a rabbi or a priest, you'd probably be looking for guidance, but it could also be a police officer or a lawyer, right? They're an authority figure on some level, and you're looking for some sort of help or assistance from that authority figure. But the guidance here, the guidance card in this deck, kind of suggests that you're looking for your own guidance. It could be looking for guidance outside of you, but it's from a spiritual kind of figure. This is a Buddha. This is the Sphinx. So it could be looking for guidance from an ancestor, looking for guidance from a spiritual ascended master, looking for guidance from God, source, universe, right? So we're looking for the answers to maybe some questions that we have. But again, you can also connect with your own higher self. That's what I feel like when I look at the Sphinx kind of floating up there in the air. It's like this could be connecting to your higher self to receive guidance. So what is my higher self saying? I don't have to necessarily depend on the priest or the rabbi or the police officer or the lawyer or, even the psychic reader for getting guidance. I can connect to my own higher self. I can connect to the higher wisdom and knowledge that's within me, connecting to my heart and this source of wisdom within me to receive the guidance that I'm looking for. What feels right to me? What is being told to me? We all have different psychic abilities. Am I hearing something? Am I sensing something? Feeling something? Seeing something, right? So pay attention to whatever that guidance is. Sometimes guidance comes through something we read or an animal out in nature that we cross paths with, Sometimes we get this aha moment like, oh, that's a sign to pay attention to. I found a feather on the ground, or I saw this and it's very unusual to find this or see this. So pay attention to all sorts of signs and synchronicities, as those are all guidance for you in this coming month of June. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next card here. And the next card is the Seven of Flames. This is like the Seven of Wands. So, it makes me feel like I'm having to, in a sense, or at least in part, kind of like defend myself. I want to say defend myself, protect myself from some energies that I'm unsure or uncertain about. Okay, Seven of Wands, Seven of Flames. But I also, when I look at this image, this particular image in this particular deck, it almost looks like she's dancing around the chaos and confusion. She's dancing around the doubt and the fear. She's dancing around those that may be coming at her with some sort of judgment or some sort of like you can't do that, or that, you shouldn't try to do this, or whatever it is. She's kind of dancing around that energy. She's got a flame in her hand. Trying to see if she's got 2, 4, 6. No, there's 6 flames at the bottom, 1 in her hand. I'm trying to see what she has in the other. I don't know what she's got in the other hand, but I do like that she's in a red dress. Red to me is like a power color. So we're in this power energy with ourselves. You know, red and black are both power colors actually, and that's what makes up her skirt. Red is also the color of the root chakra, which is about her sense of security, stability, groundedness. So she's staying grounded and true to who she is. The number 7 in numerology is about going deep within in silent reflection or meditation. So I feel like, again, she's deeply rooted in her truth. Maybe she's not ready to speak it yet because the 7 can be a little silent and protective of their words, their ideas, their thoughts. But whatever might be coming at her in situations and circumstances or from other people, she's kind of just dancing around that. And she's staying in the flow. Like, I feel like the way she's got her arms and the way she's moving, she's in the flow with things. She's not going to give in to doubt or illusion or confusion. She's going to just move through whatever it is that's happening. And she's going to go back again and listen to her own higher soul self and her own inner guidance, if we follow with what the first card says. And there's the light of the full moon back there too, right? So we've got sort of the light of the sun here, and we've got the light of the full moon here. So maybe there's something here that's being highlighted around that full moon in Sagittarius. Something that deals with our belief systems about a situation, or maybe our belief systems about ourselves and how we move through difficulty or challenges or things that are uncertain, you know, the uncertainty of life or the uncertainty of the path ahead. So I feel like this is still positive in a sense. We're moving through something by just moving and going with the flow and staying in our power. The last card is Major Arcana 7, the Chariot. The first thing that pops into my mind is that in the tarot, the Chariot is ruled by the sign of Cancer. We've got Mercury into Cancer, Jupiter's moving into Cancer. Later on, the Sun is moving into Cancer. So again, not very surprising that we've got the Major Arcana in the tarot that's ruled by the sign of Cancer here, the Chariot. The Chariot in the traditional tarot is often shown with 2 horses. This one has 5, so I feel like we have more manpower to move forward here, right? The Chariot, you know, can be looked at as let's move forward, right? And rather than, again, the 2 horses, although the 2 horses usually are looking in different directions and trying to like move into 2 separate areas, just like the 2 horses here are kind of facing one way, the 2 horses over here facing the other. But this horse in the middle, it's going to be pulling the whole team so that all these other horses start to follow suit. And I like that this one has 5 horses for the fact that, again, there's the one horse that's looking straight ahead. Come on, we have to move forward. All these other horses, get with me here. And once the 5 horses are all in alignment, then we really have, again, that horsepower to move forward towards our goal. Now, with the idea that this is ruled by Cancer, Cancer again is the emotional realm, and a lot of times the Chariot card is shown galloping through water. It's not always, and in this card it's not either. There's no water here, but this can be seen as we have to move through something emotional. We're trying to gain like this momentum to move through some sort of emotional challenge or emotional chaos. And, you know, we're wanting to do that with a fairly good speed behind us. But because of those, in the traditional card, those 2 horses pulling in opposite directions, it usually takes a little bit of balancing, which is what we're focused on here. Let's balance the emotions in the emotional body so that we can move forward. This one, I feel like we are able to move forward a little bit more easily. And there's not a lot of water shown, even though it still may represent that we're moving through something emotional. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the special message card depending on your stone of choice. That first stone of choice was the cherry Tansberry quartz. So for cherry Tansberry quartz people, special message for the month of June. Special message for the month of June. Okay, give us a little shuffle. Cherry Tansberry quartz people, June. Okay, no, I can't. There's 3 cards. No, I can't pull 3 cards, Spirit. So give me 1 card. All right, Cherry Tansberry quartz. Give me a card. All right, this one keeps, okay, the bottom's popping up. So this is eagle and communion. So fly high above the horizon and look at things from a higher perspective, which if there is some challenging energies to move through in June, that makes sense. Let's look at things from a higher spiritual perspective, or look at things with new eyes, new vision. The eagle has very, very good vision here. Let's be in communion with spirit, right? The higher the eagle flies, the closer it is to, God, spirit, and metaphorically speaking, at least. And so this is, let's commune with our higher soul self. Let's commune with the divine. Let's commune with our angels and guides. Again, let's understand things from that higher perspective. We've got this Native American that is looking up at the eagle, sort of like recognizing that, hey, this is a sign. This is a sign that I've been waiting for, So watch for, again, signs and synchronicities coming into your life. It almost looks like there's a sun, but that the sun is a little bit hazed out, right? So again, maybe we're not seeing something totally clearly just yet. There's a haze that's keeping us a little confused or deluded about what's happening, but you can still see the sunlight trying to peek through, okay? So just look for the light and towards the light, and look for the clarity and ask for the clarity and ask for the sign. And then when the sign comes, recognize the sign and pay attention to the sign. And you'll know after that, what's the next step? What's the next step on my path? I've seen the sign. What does the sign mean? Okay, let's move forward. I've seen things from a higher spiritual perspective. This situation or circumstance may be happening for something that I don't quite know yet, right? I'm not quite sure yet, but I know, I have trust and faith in my heart that there's a reason for this. There's a reason that's guiding me, okay? So just follow the steps. Follow the eagle. All right, let's put that back in the deck. And the second stone of choice was the black tourmaline. Special message for the month of June for black tourmaline people. This one's calling my attention. Ooh, tsunami. Tsunami and a wake-up call, okay? So we've got, again, all that Cancerian energy, with the 3 planets moving into Cancer. Water is the emotional realm. Cancer rules the emotions, the emotional realm. We even have a full moon back here. So again, going to relate this towards the full moon in Sagittarius on the 11th or the few days thereafter, when the emotions, or maybe even the few days before, but the emotions get heightened, and then there's a release. There's a tsunami that's rising, some emotional energy rising, or an emotional situation rising. And what happens with a tsunami, right? It's a big wave of emotion. It's a big wave that kind of comes in to either cleanse something away or bring your attention to some situation or circumstance that needs to be emotionally healed. Again, it could be on or around the full moon that this is happening. And there is, again, some sort of wake-up call. Like, maybe you're not aligned with your purpose or aligned on your path correctly. Maybe there's situations and circumstances from the past you haven't quite resolved yet or let go yet, or the old stories, the old belief systems that you haven't quite shifted yet or healed yet. So there's going to be some sort of a wake-up call, some sort of a revelation, some sort of an aha moment, some sort of a big either internal event or external event that really wakes you up to the truth of what you need to see or know or understand. So don't fear this. This is something that's going to help to realign you with your truth. There could be, I'm getting for some of you, there could be a situation, an external situation of an emotional nature that, again, doesn't make sense to you. And they're not giving me any more than that. So we're going to leave it at that. But this is part of the process of our evolution and growth. Whatever this means on a collective level, whatever it might mean on a personal level, it's part of the evolution and growth. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the special message for the Picasso Jasper. Special message for the month of June for Picasso Jasper. Picasso Jasper. Okay, this one here. Sticking up, purification, rain, okay? So water can be purifying too, right? Get in the bath water, right? If we get in a tub full of salt water, bath water, it helps to cleanse us spiritually, right? Purifies us. If we get in the oceans, there's salt water in the ocean. Salt is a good purifier. So, with regular rain or a lake or a stream, there's not salt involved necessarily, but the rain is going to be this purifying energy. Water is going to be this purifying energy. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to jump in the ocean or stand out in the rain, to be purified. This is just metaphoric here. But there's definitely a purification process that's going on for you. Now, some of the card is dark and shaded and shadowed like it's nighttime, but you can see there's some vibrant green peeking out down here at the bottom of the card. You can see a little bit of this green tree back here, but mostly these two green kind of plants that's by the water. So there's growth that happens, right? You're going through a purification process, and then there's growth, new life, new vitality, new growth that's happening. There's even a little bit of a peaking of a full moon there in the background here too. Okay, not a whole lot, but again, that could be significant about some sort of full moon purification process that's happening. Maybe it's related to some of those Jupiter square Saturn, Jupiter square Neptune, which is right around the full moon, a little after the full moon that I talked about. So it feels like there's both earth and water in this card, right? And we are moving into, again, these planets that are shifting into earth and water. So we're needing to focus more on grounding this month, staying grounded, secure, stable, connected to our emotions and our emotional bodies. Not that we want to get overwhelmed by our emotions, but we want to pay attention to our emotions. What are my emotions trying to teach me? Or if there is an emotion coming up that's a little overwhelming, I need to recognize it and understand it, and then allow it to be purified, released, and let go and transmuted. So look at this aspect of purification process as a positive thing and as a needed thing for you this month. All right, I think we better end here. We're going on, we are at 45 minutes. So I want to thank all of you. I do want to tell you one quick thing if you're still tuned in, is that you'll want to check out my new website. So it looks very similar, but there's going to be a little bit of fresh energy in it, and it's going to be a work in progress. But it's going to be under both domains of sacredsoulempowerment.com, which is what you're used to, but also ColleenLemma.com. So either one of those that you type in, you'll still get to my website. There might be, some tweaks that need to be made. So if you go on there in the beginning of June and you see some things that look a little funky or not right, it's just because of the newness, and we have to, tweak it and fine tune it to get it to what it needs to look like. And hopefully it's functioning perfectly. That's what I'm going to intend, is that as far as people booking appointments and services and things like that it's going to just seamlessly function perfectly. But just wanted to let you know that in case you do go on there and you're like, something's not working right or doesn't look right, you're going to know why. But thank you so much for all of your love and support and comments and love. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I send you all lots of love and light and many, many blessings for this month. Namaste, everyone.